What's happening, guys? Uncle Nick here. As you can see, I am not at the gym. I'm not in Daytona. I am at home. That is because I had some technical difficulties with audio. Now, in the first video, I was able to salvage that. Unfortunately, for the rest of my footage, the stuff I did salvage, I wasn't able to put a complete video together that was in that style, so I'm running with this, and I do apologize. I really made a solid effort to do more of that vlog style for you guys because it's more fun. The material is much more organic. You get to see interactions with people, my friends at these shows, and then when I go back through and edit it, it's just a little bit more entertaining for me as well. So I apologize to you guys. I'm sorry. The next two videos will not be like that. I do have some of the footage that I was able to cover, but it doesn't make sense unless it's all together. It's just too spotty for me to get a full-blown video out of it. So I'm doing it this way. Now, I don't know if I've announced to you guys or not before we get things started is I'm now a Depth Before Dishonor athlete, a sponsored athlete. So that is why if you follow me on Instagram, you see me wearing a lot of their stuff. The owner, Jared, awesome dude, and he makes awesome stuff. I really enjoy it. It's stuff that I like, that I wear. Like, it's so unique. It doesn't look like all the other fitness brands out there, and they're good people. Not only do they make cool shit, but they're active in the strongman community, and they're active in the strength community, powerlifting community as a whole. I still have my Uncle Nick uplift shirt with the logo brand. That's a totally separate thing. Everything is going harmoniously. But on to what you guys came to watch this video, day 2 of the official Strongman Games. Alright, so day 2 had 2 events. The one I was most nervous about because, as you guys know, the whole deadlift issue I had with my back, and things are still recovering at this point. My deadlift's still not back, but it's getting better. I'm being proactive about it, tracking my progress. Everything is looking up as far as progression. But the medley was the same as last year. I think the first pull might have been a little bit lighter. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. But the weights were 495, 585, 635, and 675. So before we dive any further into that, here's the clip.
And in lane 3, Nikolai Meyer. $495 over Kelvin, good, solid and fast so far. 585, still looking good. And Neil and Myers both going through 635, on to 675, just 15 seconds off the clock. Successful for Mark Jones. I don't have an official time yet, but it definitely was faster than 27 seconds. Kevin Candido tied on to 675 now. Nikolai Meyer looking to get his rep. Coming up on 20 seconds left. Under 10.
Now, as you guys saw, I smoked the first 2, which, as I expected, 635 was the heaviest I pulled. That was the 3rd bar. That was the heaviest I pulled post-injury, post-hospital, post-anything. And I only pulled that in perfect conditions by itself one time about 2 weeks prior to this event. So I was super nervous about getting that 3rd pull in a medley, back to back to back. I was going into this 675. Probably won't be there, but I'll give it a solid effort and see if it is. As I pulled the slack out of the bar. Terry, who was actually my judge, the guy that helped me through nutrition, that I introduced you guys through the last video that helped me with this event, I pulled that 635 and gave him a look like, that was slow. And it was. And then I walked up to 675, pulled the slack out of the bar. It just was not happening. Like, I knew right away. And I made the call to not sit there and pull my brains out on a bar that wasn't going to move. And it was a nice little affirmation that I looked up. Terry's like, good call. So that is where my head was with that. I had a decent split time, but, you know, there were several guys that did pull all the way through. I'm not sure where I landed in the split time. I think going into this day, I was in 4th or 5th. This took me down to, I don't know where, maybe 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. It hurt me, which I knew it would. I was prepared for it. My intention going into this event was to get my invite back, place high enough so that I got my invite back for next year where I come in healthy. So I placed middle of the pack at best at this, and that was to plan. I had a huge mental win pulling that 635 in the medley consecutively after 2 other moderate pulls before that, which went relatively well. So I wasn't the least bit bent out of shape after this per the circumstances I was given. I was actually pretty stoked that I did stand up with that lift. But after that, I had to kind of rally up. I had a moving event. That was the carry and drag medley with 3 implements. It was a keg first, then a sandbag, then a Husafell, then a 50-foot sled back. I think empty was 250. They had to actually modify the event. Before lightweight women's was getting ready to go, they saw in warm-up set the sled. The surface was not as slick as they might have hoped, or it was in the last place they'd held that for any drag or whatever reason. But everyone was loading 2 implements instead of all 3, and thankfully they did that for us, because if we loaded 3 implements, oh boy. It wouldn't have been a fight for who pulled it 50 feet. It would have been a fight for who pulled it 5 feet. It was pretty heavy. I think the implements were around 265 all the way around. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that one either. But before I give you analysis, here's the video.
Reed elected to go with a shoulder on the sandbag, 265 pounds. That's 265 pounds in the Bartels power keg as well. Myers and Fondry neck and neck. Candido behind. Myers with the pick, Fondry the pick, Candido coming from behind now. He's out in the lead. The 2 required implements are loaded up into the Apollo String sled. Now it's time for a 50-foot drag back. The front of the sled just has to break the plane, and Candido is coming in a hurry. "60 seconds now, 30 seconds left. Candido's across. Fondry looking to finish. Myers looking to dig in. 15 seconds remain. Fondry finishes in 4. Myers in 1. Less than 5 seconds. In lane 2, Ryan.
Fucking quad killer, dude.
In lane 3,
I'm way too hamstring dominant for that.
And in lane 4, Pablo Paso.
It makes you contemplate your life choices.
Why would anyone want to do this? You guys are all mad. Bunch of giants.
As you guys saw, I came out of the hole firing. It was Aaron Founders on the end. He's a fast guy as well. I knew him and I would set a good pace for the rest of the field, and we did that. We were kind of jockeying up until the drag. Now, I'm super hamstring dominant, and I know that this sled drag is going to kill quads, and it showed. That was my weak link in the chain. I still put up a decent time. I went from, I think, 12th. This got me up to like 7th overall. So I made progress. I set a decent time. I'm not sure where I landed in this event specifically, but I did well enough that it bumped me up in points. enough to put me back well within the top 10, within striking range. So I was happy to see that. But as you guys see, there was this little section where I stopped and started rowing. I got a calf cramp like mid-pull, and my brain was like, just keep this thing moving any way you can. So I started rowing it. And then once I felt my calf start to release a little bit, even though it was still kind of crampy, it was kind of You know that feeling. You know what I'm talking about. If not, well, then I hope you don't ever find out. So I just kept rowing it until I felt it release, and then I picked back up and just stared at the ceiling, and I just tried to go to another place. I was literally counting the lights on the ceiling, just like 1, 2, 3, just to get my head out of the suck that was ensuing. That was a brutal event. I was down on my hands and knees. I gave that everything I had. There wasn't much more in the tank that I could have possibly given, and I finished the event. There were a lot of guys that did not finish. Let me say that again. There were a lot of guys that did not finish that medley at a world level. It was a hard event. To those guys that put up better times than I did, than the people that did finish it, they absolutely earned it. Now, had I been able to keep the pace I did coming out of the hole, could I have potentially done much better? Obviously, yes. But I had what I had. I gave what I had. And I am proud of my day 2 performance. I gave everything I had. I played it smart. Got myself back well within the top 10. I was 7th going into day 3. And I was smoked. I did like an ice bath. I did a bunch of recovery that night because my quads were feeling it. My calves were feeling it. It hits you hard between that heavy deadlift medley and that super heavy carry and drag. That was a killer of a day. But at the end of day 2, my head was in a good place, my body not so much. So I went home, recovered, did my job, and did what I needed to do as an athlete to come into day 3 as good as possible to give a good day 3 performance. That will be the next video, day 3. That will be the axle clean and press. It's a fixed axle, which makes an axle clean and press much harder. And then it was the power stairs, which was pretty much anybody's game. There's no way to real gauge if someone's going to be good at that or not. You definitely have a little bit of advantage if you're taller because the stairs and it's whatever. That will be the next video. And then I will also be putting out a video. I sat down with Terry, ran some questions by him. So keep an eye out for that. Gives input on what you should look for in coaching, nutrition, all those types of things. Those questions I get asked frequently. And he is very much so qualified to answer those. I'm excited to put that one out for you guys. There's a lot of good information for you guys to grab from that. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys being patient. And thank you so much for all the support with this event and cheering me on. It does not go unnoticed. You guys are absolutely awesome. Until the next time, you guys know what the deal is. Get out there, get after it, and embrace the suck.